Tom, good to see you as always. A catch up from the fan advisory board. You held your last meeting in the last few days. How did it go?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a nice time to reflect, really, because we look back. The initial meeting was March last year, where we invited groups along to give them an outline of what the advisory board would be, and obviously then groups signed up to that, and it was nice to reflect on that sort of first 10, 11 months of what we've achieved, and I think also to kind of reaffirm what the advisory board is about. So yeah, it was really good to catch up with people.
What topics did you cover?
So we started off really by, like I say, recovering the purpose of the fan advisory board, and there's the key word there is advisory. We've always said this isn't a wish list, this isn't a list of demands from a supporter or groups of supporters. This is about how do we enhance what's already in place. We've got Wendy's role as the SLO, who does a great job there on match days, before match days, in build-ups to games. The advisory board was about looking at additional channels of communication. So talking about the different projects that we've got, that I'm sure we'll cover during this conversation, but actually to encourage people to go out to the groups that they represent, whether it be an online forum or a travel club, and bring back those different perspectives, because that's what it's all about. We're here to represent as many supporters as we can. I have never and will never claim to represent everyone's view. I'm not going to be everyone's taste. We're not going to satisfy everyone's needs. But the idea is here, we all want the best for Northampton Town Football Club, and that's what the advisory board is looking to try and achieve in the future.
There's a lot going on at the moment around the club, around the stadium. Things are changing, things are moving forward quickly. One of the projects that the FAB has led on particularly is the Fan Stones project. What's the latest with that?
So I was really delighted with the kind of feedback we've had from that. Again, with the stadium turning 30, looking at how we get fans involved in different ways, to have your name as you approach the stadium on a match day in bricks, as in stones at the front of the West Stand is going to be great. We ran some promotions before Christmas, and that will carry on to kind of encourage people. We explained in the advisory board that there were kind of 3 levels of stones, because we wanted everyone to be able to participate. We appreciate, even the smaller stone isn't the cheapest, but actually we wanted a price which could appeal to lots and lots of people, and we've seen a great feedback to that. Obviously in the build up to Christmas, I think it was a popular Christmas present. I know I purchased one for my family, so they were delighted with their fan stone, and actually we've seen the kind of sales of those continue to rise. We're in discussions with the company that we're working with there around timelines for installation, and hopefully soon we should have a kind of date for the first batch going in. And what I would say to any supporters is, if you've got any questions, obviously kind of contact me directly, and if you are still thinking of buying one, now would be a great time to make sure you're part of that first installation when it goes in.
Another project I know you're proud of, and the club are particularly excited by, the Brian Lomax fan zone. What's the latest there?
So with that, again, the funding of the fan stones is going towards advisory board projects, and one of the kind of ideas that was discussed a lot was around the fan zone. Now, fan zone aren't a new concept. There's various different formats across the country. I know regular games we go and have a look at what there is at other clubs. And kind of, the idea developed because when we went out to our supporters about names for potentially boxes in the East Stand, or actually features around the ground, Brian's name came up again and again from supporters, and I think it's important that we provide a fan zone facility that caters for lots of different groups of people. In the meeting on Thursday, we discussed there were concepts around different food, different drinks, but actually the offering's got to be for lots of different people, for families, for different groups of people, first time attendees, seasonal members, and we're really looking forward to developing that. We've lots of interesting research going on at the moment, obviously looking at costings, the kind of revenue generated by the fan stones, and support from the club as well, to make sure this is a fitting fan zone. And I think the key part here is that it will grow over time, and actually that will be guided for by the supporters. When the first phase opens, we've said we're hoping to get that ready for the start of next season, but it will grow over time, and I think that's important. And we've spoken to lots of different groups, from the community trust to ideas that could be enhancing throughout the week as well, that actually community groups might be able to use facilities. So yeah, we had a really interesting discussion about those, and again now it's kind of our job to go and look at the different costings involved with that, and make it the very, very best that we can.
The important thing there, as you touched on, is given this carries Brian's name, it's important that we get it right, not necessarily rush it.
Yeah, it's that. It's so important for us. And I think, again, this was something we discussed in the meeting because, Brian Lomax played a pivotal role in supporters' involvement. And part of the conversations that we had when we were looking was it didn't feel right to look at boardrooms or lounges because Brian was about supporters. And actually, when I started my role as the elected director, I was given a document that Brian was part of years and years and years ago, and he said about making yourself approachable and being available for all supporters. And I think this is where, with the fan zone, it was really fitting for Brian. And as I say, this is about getting it right longer term. The stadium is here for the very foreseeable future, and actually, if we can add to that as we go through, for all supporters as well, and those different features. So when the time comes to get that feedback, we'll look to the advisory board. We speak to supporters on match days. We're always kind of having these conversations. People can contact us directly. And I think, again, that's an important part of the fan advisory board. It isn't about excluding anyone. This is about enhancing what's already there. People can get in touch through lots of different channels already. But actually, when the ideas come forward, we're welcoming ideas from all supporters.
The East Stand nearing completion in the next couple of months, looking fantastic. Had a look around there this week, obviously looking really good. And you've been involved in naming some of the boxes.
Yeah, again, the East Stand, it does bring a smile to my face because actually we've seen the progress week in, week out now, and actually looking at the internal fit outs now, it's a real step forward, and we're getting closer every week, which is exciting. And again, looking at those boxes, there's different facilities, and actually kind of representing, we went out to supporters and asked for feedback. I think I said at the advisory board, if I asked every Cobblers supporter to name their starting 11 for a match now or their all-time, there would always be differences. But I think the list of names that we've pretty much compiled now represents, our proud history of the club, our involvement in lots of different areas, and these are all suggestions that have come from supporters. So I think, again, with this, the East Stand, we've waited a long time for it, but it's there for a long time. And actually, to start with, it might be that we kind of invite guests along to open specific boxes, but that's going to take time. And I think we can enjoy that. I think we've deserved the right to enjoy that process where we can invite people along to games. We've already started to look at different events, different ways in which people can get involved. I know I had questions from people that regularly sit in the West Stand, but how do I get to have a look around? And those opening events that will run from a forum to tours to look around to events across future years. But I think the key bit here is we'll get things right step by step, do things the right way, and actually if you follow those processes, I think that's beneficial to everyone involved in the club.
Yeah, that, as you touched on there, just like the fan zone, the East Stand, you want it to be as good as it can be on opening, but it's a project that will evolve and improve as we go along, as we live in the stand.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a realist. It's, we want to get things as good as they can be straight away, but let's look at those improvements, those continual improvements that we do, whether that's the match day experience, whether that's hospitality offerings, whether that's naming of different areas, as different kind of factors kind of appeal to the club. We've got to consider those things over time, and I think that's the nice thing now. We can actually start to plan those things out over a period of time because it's appearing in front of everyone's eyes that the East Stand is going to be open very, very soon.
One thing that will give an overnight boost, a huge boost, literally the click of a finger, the raised viewing area for wheelchair supporters. They've suffered at pitch level in the cold and the wet for too long now, and to have that platform back will be a real boost. Absolutely,
and this is one which people who know what I do for a day job will know it's an area for me. Inclusion and accessibility around the stadium's a must for lots and lots of different supporters. We've supported individual supporters with projects this year, and I don't think I've ever hidden when someone said to me the facilities aren't good enough at the moment. They haven't been, but this gives us that platform, the optimal word there, where the facilities, the views, the access, the kind of the match day experience that those supporters will have will now be kind of, again, one of the best in the league, certainly going forward. And again, if there are things we can improve as we learn, we will improve them for all supporters. But yeah, I think that's going to be fantastic, and can't wait to probably have a kind of a look over there myself on a match day to kind of catch up with supporters. And we've spoken to supporters who don't attend games at the moment that hopefully are looking forward to coming back now they've got that facility available.
I know a few members of the FAB raised a few individual questions, which I know you'll respond to individually as well. But for any fan that has a question or has something they'd like to raise with you, we always go through this, but just how do they best contact you?
So straight away, the easiest way is cliffetom@hotmail.com. Send me an email in terms of processes there. If it's something I can answer straight away, I'll come back to you. If it's something I need some feedback from the club, we'll go to the relevant person. Pathways for that, it might just be an email back, it might be an invite for a meeting with a member of the staff here, the relevant areas. That's the quickest way. Have a chat with me on a match day. I'm at every home game, the vast majority of away games. I've tried to travel on the supporters coaches as well, just to get different feelings from people. So please just do submit these ideas. We've said before that from an advisory board, we don't produce minutes as such, because actually that would be my perception of what's happened in the meeting. We invite the group to attend, to go back and feed back to their members. If anyone feels, hopefully today we've updated you on the kind of areas we discussed. If people want more details, they can just get in contact with me. And I think that's the key part, and knowing those different groups. And again, as the FAB continues to grow, with 10, 11 months into the process, as things go forward, we'll look at ways in which we improve that as well. But yeah, email, speak to us face to face. If you're at the club and you think, maybe I don't want to talk to Tom, Wendy is our supporters liaison officer, is fantastic. Any member of staff can pass a message on them, and we'll get back to you as kind of quickly as we can.
Thanks for your time, Tom.
Cheers.